I'm going to talk about uh, AirFiber and AirMax. So today we focus on two of the products from UBNT that focus on point to point, um, then also point to point and point to multipoint. Okay, wait. I need to change location. Okay. Okay, so today is about AirFiber and AirMax. Maybe some of you never heard anything about Air, AirFiber or AirMax, or you plan to have a wireless bridging network in your environment and you don't know which product to use. So for today, I will explain to you on these two products so that in the end you know which product and model to use for your environment. Okay, right. So for today, let us start with Air Fiber and then Air Max. Okay. All right, so get back to my slide. Okay, so if you open the Ubiquiti website, you will see the first product model for point to point. It is MX and AirFiber. So I will explain to you on AirFiber first before we go to MX. So AirFiber is the product branch from UBNT that provide point to point wireless. Okay, so it is focused only on point to point. So if you're looking for high reliability point to point, so especially backhaul punya performance, or alright, if you want to go for 1 gig plus throughput, aggregate throughput, so you go for air fiber. So it is suitable if you're doing backhaul. Okay, not that AirMax is not suitable. AirMax also suitable for backhaul, but if you're looking for higher reliability, which means you not high throughput, you not 1 gig plus performance, so you go for air fiber. That's why the name is air fiber. So it provides fiber connectivity over wireless network. All right, so this is air fiber. So the technology is a bit different from the normal AirMax standard. Okay, so it designed by Ubiquiti R&D team. Okay, this one no need to. So purpose built to create a high performance backhaul. All right. So we focus on backhaul, not for normal point to point. But you can still use if you have a short range point to point, but you want to have higher throughput, then you can also use a fiber. No problem. Okay. Only that the price is a little bit expensive than the MX model. Okay, so it depends on your setup. Okay, so if you want throughput, higher throughput, even a short distance, then you can go for air fiber. Okay, all right. Yep. The hardware, yeah, plug and play deployment, so easy to configure. I think kalau you haven't tried, even your first time try also, it's not very hard to configure. I think the only issue when deploying point to point is how well you align your antennas. Okay, that's the most important thing. All right, and then the tuning. Okay, to configure it is not that hard. Okay, also on the hardware also there are the LED display, so if you want to align, you can just follow the LED display. All right, and then ada audio tone feature, all right, for you to do alignment. Okay, all right. So design for freedom, yes, dia ada AF5, all right. So mid band dengan high band 5G frequency, all right. So this one is free license, okay, you boleh pakai. And dia ada AF24. All right, so 24 gig. We don't sell it here in Malaysia because you need to purchase license. All right, so you can use, but you need to purchase license. All right, based on MCMC regulation. Okay, so that one is F24. All right. Yes, built for speed and range. So delivers gigabit performance. All right, aggregate throughput 1.2 gigabit per second. All right, for AF5U. All right. Then if you use AF24 or AF24 HD, you will get more than 1.5 gigabit per second aggregate throughput. All right. So this is what you need to take note if you want to design your wireless bridging infrastructure. All right. So in terms of range, if you're using the 24 gig, so it is for short range, so up to 13 kilometers. All right. So, but if you use the normal AirFiber 5, you can go up to 100 plus. All right. Okay, so that one is F5. So kalau you nak buat backhaul, a really long distance backhaul, you can use the F5 or F5U. All right. Okay, so this is the comparison between the speed, all right, from AF24 HD, 24 and 5. All right, so definitely 24 HD is the most highest throughput you can go, all right, but on a short distance. Okay. So usually, if you're using this one is AF5 or AF5U, so the other dual chain antenna. All right, so you can have different frequency running on TX and RX, so you can plan properly so that you punya TX frekuensi tak akan overlap dengan RX punya frekuensi, so you can have different frequency running on the same radio, right? Because the dual chain, right? So you boleh buat half duplex or full duplex. Okay, so that's how you plan if you have having issue at that certain area, so you can do full duplex. All right, so full duplex, you use different frequency on your TS and RF, so it will help you to eliminate extra RF loss. All right, so this one is full duplex. All right, half duplex, you're using the same frequency for both TS and RF. Okay, right. So this is the model. So 24 and 24 HD, you need to purchase license in Malaysia. And other than that, 5, you can use AirFiber X and 5X HD, you need to use external antenna for this one. Okay, 11FX also license, you need to purchase license and it's using external antenna. So the built-in antenna is the AirFiber 5 and AirFiber 5U. All right, here that you can use the free license one. Okay, this is AirFiber. The antenna you can use with the AirFiber X. Okay, all those with X, you need the external antenna. All right, so you can use this kind of antenna. All right, the normal the X antenna, the multiplexer NXN, and then the ISO beam. All right, so depending on how you do it depends on the setup at your area. Okay. All right. So this is example of point to point using AirFiber. So like I said, point to point is only for backhaul. AirFiber is only for backhaul point to point. So you cannot do point to multi-point. So one unit as a master and one unit as a slave. All right. So you can do something like this, or you can have a daisy or ring topology for this one. Okay. As long as one is a master and another one is a slave. All right, so it's as simple as that. Okay, this is example of complete deployment of AirFiber. So take note that a really good installation, you will need grounding of your AirFiber unit. So jangan simply pasang on top of the roof without a proper grounding, because kalau kena lightning, then it will cause your unit to burn, akan jadi faulty. Alright, and also it will affect everything under the AP. So not only the grounding, you need to have a proper surge protector. All right, UBNT have one unit of surge protector. So you install surge protector. Suggested to install 2 unit of surge protector before connecting to the POE adapter for the AirFiber. Okay, so this is a sample deployment. Okay, right, because some installer will not install the grounding cable, so that one is not a very good installation. All right, take note on this one. Okay, because if you claim for warranty, if your device is burned because of lightning, so there is no warranty claim for this one. All right. Alright, so now we go to AirMax. Okay, so AirFiber, if you go for high reliability, AirMax is focused on the 802.11 protocol. So you have the range of point to point and point to multi-point product. All right, for short range and for long range. All right, but the throughput is not like AirFiber. Okay. So the operating system that running on AirMax product, dia akan guna AirOS. Alright, the latest version of AirOS is AirOS 8. Okay, alright. So I think this one, I think most of you heard about AirMax. Alright, the famous one, NSM5, NanoStation M5. But this one is old model, so I would suggest you to change if you have those NSM5 or the non-AC. Better you tukar kepada AC model, alright, because the AirOS 8, the latest firmware, I think support on the latest model. Alright, you don't kalau boleh you tukar lah, don't use the non AC one. Alright, so better use the AC one. Okay, so this is a list of products. So the product ranging from they have the access point, they have the CPE, all right, customer premise equipment. All right, so this is the list of CPE, all right, the station. Okay, so you can use ISO station, light beam. So you have a different range of product. Still the features, I mean, in terms of the configuration, its purpose is the same. So it is as point to point or point to multi point. The only difference is on the hardware and the antenna. Alright, so if you use ISO station, dia punya antenna tu shielded, dia punya propagation tu lagi fokus. Alright, if you use ISO station, if you use light beam, dia 2x2 punya MX-CPE, nano beams for long range also boleh pakai nano beam. Kalau you nak shorter, I mean like for CCTV yang for short range, you can use the nano station AC loco or nano station 5 AC. Okay, for point to multi point. You nak yang high performance punya bridge, you can use power beam. So really depends on your setup, really depend on your site location, your distance, the throughput, all those things. Then you choose which model suitable. All right, if you use bullet AC, if you want to have omnidirectional signal, okay, so you use a bullet. All right, if you want to do point to multi-point for omnidirectional. So it is really depend. All right, some of them built-in antenna, some of them external antenna, like bullet AC. It is using external antenna, so you can attach external antenna. Okay, so this is the CB, and this is designed as a access point, so as a base station. So the famous one, the base station, usually people use Rocket AC. So Rocket AC, you can attach with the sector antenna, you can attach with the dish antenna. Okay, so Rocket is the best so far on the AirMax product to become your access point. All right, you can use I mean, if you have nano beam, you want to do it as access point, can, but like I said, depending on your environment. If you want to cover a very large area, wider area, so definitely nano beam is not suitable because the beam width is very limited. Okay, so if only you want to focus on the degree maybe below 30 degrees, so you can use nano beam AC as your access point. Okay, but if you want a wider area, so you attach the sector antenna. Okay, because it can go up to 120 degree. Okay, so that's how you plan your wireless bridging. Okay, if you want a powerful rocket, you go for rocket prism because it has a air prism technology, better than the normal rocket AC. Or you can use also light APAC. All right, this one is small one. Okay. All right, so this is the access point and this is the antenna. Okay, so you can use the normal AC sector antenna, or if you use the prism rocket, you can use the air prism sector antenna. Okay, you can use ditch. All right, usually people use ditch or sector and omni. So like a Yagi, people don't use a lot. All right, then you can use for iso beam. If you want to isolate the interference, use iso beam, or you can use the horn 5. All right, so this is the list of antenna. You can open it in the website. All right, they have the list of antenna and the suitable model to use with it. Okay, this one the old one without the the AC. All right, the normal 5G. So this one maybe soon they akan end of life. So you, if possible, you change your products to AC. And besides AC, also they provide higher throughput compared to the non-AC. All right, if you can see the non-AC up to 100 or 150 Mbps, but you use AC, your throughput can go to 300 or 450 Mbps throughput. All right, so much better than the old one. Okay, so this is the product for the legacy one. They still have it right now, but soon I don't think they will support this one anymore. Okay, all right, so okay, the OS running for AirMax using AOS. The latest one is AOS 8. Okay, so like any other point-to-point, so it support various channel width from 10 up to 80 megahertz. So you can do automatic channel selection. You have the transmit power control. All right, you can do automatic distance selection, and then for the security, they have the strongest WPA2 security. Okay, so this one is very typical point-to-point configuration lah. So it has everything. Okay, so supported products, so only for the AC model, rocket, nano beam, power beam, light beam, so all those AC is supported for AOS 8. Okay, so this one is only for AirMax. All right, AirFiber is using their own OS. Okay, all right, so wireless mode, so you can do point to point. All right, you can do point to multi-point, so that AP can become a station or it can become an AP. All right, so doesn't matter, you can do a station or access point, and also you can mix. All right, you can mix between AC model and non-AC model. So if you have nano station M, you want to make point to point with nano station 5AC, yes, you can do it, but the access point must be the AC model. All right, your station, you can use the non-AC. All right, but of course lah, you will not get the full throughput of AC because you are using the non-AC product. All right, so you can use mixed connection between AC and non-AC, but your non-AC cannot become the access point. Your non-AC must become the station. Okay, so take note on that. All right, so this is typical configuration or deployment for the first time. Okay, so I always remind my customers, before you start buying the product, always do a site planning first. Okay, so Ubiquiti have the Airlink software you can open from the browser, where you can plan your point to point site. Okay, so you can check for the the interference, the line of sight, so all those things before you start buying the product. Okay, so you don't simply buy the product before you do the site survey. Okay, you do both site survey on the software, and then you go on the real site, then you start choosing the product, and then you start buying the product and you configure the product. Okay, all right, so this is how you the typical configuration of using AirMax. So any AirMax is the same thing. So dia akan ada default IP 1.20. So you connect your host computer to the PoE adapter to power up the AP, and then you buka browser, you set your PC IP to the same subnet, same range and subnet, then you open browser 1.20. Alright, and then you just log in and then you start configuring the device. To configure the device also is not very hard. First one, you set up the wireless mode. All right, so if you plan to do point to point, so one AP you set it as access point, and the other AP you set as station. All right, if you want to do point to multi-point, the first one is point to point, access point, point to multi-point, and then the other AP you set as station, point to multi-point. All right, so it's that easy. After that, you set the wireless SSID, the SSID, and then the security. Okay, so by right, that's the most important thing, to just to have the connection between all your APs. All right. So other than that, the advanced configuration is on the tuning part. All right. If you are having issue with the signal, then you start tuning on the channel, which channel to use, which channel width to use, how many transmit power to set. Also that's one, that one is it really depends on your environment. Okay, so that's what you will do once you deploy on site. Okay, so the default one is like this. Okay, so this is an example of point to point network diagram. Okay, so you have one AP, this one is light beam, one light beam as the access point, and another light beam as a station. Right, so a simple point to point. Okay, so this one is simple point to point. Okay, so this one is a point to multi-point deployment. Okay, so you have a rocket AC connect to omni directional antenna, so to broadcast 360 coverage. All right, and then your station you can use mix match between different model of ubiquiti MXAP. So you can use light beam as your station, you can use this one, the dish antenna maybe connected to another rocket. All right, or you can use also this one is light P, you can use also nano beam, all right, as your point to multi-point. All right, so you can have a mixture of different model or MX AP as your station. Okay, so this is another example. Okay, so the wireless mode, like I said, you can do point to point, point to multi-point, station, and access point. Okay, so this is the screenshot. All right, on the setup. Okay, all right, so if it is point to point, so one unit is access point, so you set the SSID, the country code. So if you select Malaysia, dia akan ada limitation on your punya frequency list. Okay, so if you nak tune, when you choose Malaysia, so dia ada limitation. Alright, if you want frequency outside of Malaysia, so you change the country to use other than Malaysia. Okay, and then you start planning for the channel width. Okay, the output power. Okay, max TX, the TX rate. So this one is more on the advanced when you already deploy on the site. Okay, so sometimes you will no need to tune this one if your area doesn't have any RF interference, but most of the time, yes, you need to do some tuning. Okay, all right, so it really depends. Okay, so this is another one. Okay, same thing. This one access point, point to multi-point, station point to point, and then station point to multi-point. Okay, all right. So there also they have the AirView spectrum analyzer. Okay, when you deploy on site, they have this tool, we call it as AirView, so that you can scan for the RF interference in that area. All right, so you scan, then you know which frequency that have the less interference, and then you can use that frequency. Okay, so this is a tool good for you to have a better wireless signal, okay, for your point to point. Okay, so this one, the air view. All right, you can use also the antenna align tool, this one also in the AP. All right, so you can know which direction you have the most the better signal. Okay, you can use the antenna align tool. Okay, site survey, they have this tool where you can search for all the wireless available around the area, and then you can scan for the frequency that the other radio has been is using. All right, so that you can plan for a better performance for your radio. Okay, right, so this is extra tool. All right, also they have discovery tool. You want to search for ubiquity devices on the network. Okay, when you do the point to point. Okay, they have this one. You can do speed test also when you have the link. You want to test your link. All right, so this one is just the speed between the AP to between APs. Okay, so it's not the IP throughput. All right, so if you want to do the IP throughput, you can do the iPerf lah. You want to know the real connection. So, but if you want to know the connection, the throughput between APs, then they have this speed test tool, so you can justify throughput that you will get on your wireless point to point. Okay, right. And you have also cable test to test your LAN cable. All right, if something wrong with your cable, so you can do cable test tool. All right, so you know if your cable are good. So always recommended to use outdoor standard cable when you use point to point. Okay, because dia lagi tahan. Alright, hujan panas lebih tahan. Don't simply use the normal cat 5 or cat 6 cable for outdoor deployment. It's not a recommended setup. Okay, for outdoor. Right, always use the Ubiquiti have the outdoor shielded standard cable for you to use for point to point. Okay, right. So which product to use? Like I said, it's really depend on your setup, but this are some suggestions. This one you can get it from the website. So it depends on your setup, point to point or point to multi-point. Okay, so this is example of point to point and point to multi-point. Okay, so if you're looking for point to point, you want short distance, you can go for nano beam, you can go for NS5AC. All right, you can go also for AirFiber. You want short distance, you can use AirFiber also. All right, if you want to go for medium distance, then okay, you start choosing light beam, power beam. Okay, and also you can go for AirFiber. Okay, so this is for medium distance, 5 to 15 kilometer. And then if you want to go for long distance, 15 plus kilometer, you can go for rocket, because rocket you can attach external antenna where you can get higher gain antenna, so you can go for more than 15 kilometers. So rocket dish suggested here using the rocket dish, and AirFiber. Yes, AirFiber can go high with the AF antenna or the AirFiber 11. Okay, by this license. All right, so this one is long distance. All right, if you are looking for backhaul, so backhaul always use AirFiber, right? So kalau ISP, they want to transmit gigabit throughput, so you must go for AirFiber. All right. So the distance, if you use 24 short distance, you want to go for 100 kilometers distance, you go for AirFiber 5. Okay. All right. For point to multi-point, okay, so you can use short distance this the base station or the AP, you should use rocket. All right, the rocket M. Okay, and then the omni antenna, or you can use the sector antenna. So rocket is always the base station. Okay, and also you can use light beam, because light beam, the built-in antenna is 120 degree, so you can have a 120 degree coverage for point to multi-point. All right, so light beam can become a base station also, or you can use ISO station. Okay, so this one is for the base station. And then for the station or CPE, all right, short distance, usually people use nano beam, or you can use the NSM 5AC. All right, medium distance you can use for light beam or power beam, and then long distance you can use power beam or rocket 5AC line. All right, so because point to multi-point is not like point to point. Point to point you can go up to 20-30 kilometers. So point to multi-point, dia tak not really high performance for a very long distance. Okay, so biasanya below 10 kilometers is okay for you to do point to multi-point. More than that, it's not suitable. Alright, it's not very powerful. Alright, so that one is for point to point. Okay. So antenna type, so this one also depends on your requirement. So usually like Yagi, grid, and panel, people do not use it a lot. So like yes, dish, omni, and sector, a lot of people use this. Like dish, so if you want to have a directive point to point, so you use this. So this is not very suitable for point to multi-point. Okay, so if you want to have point to multi-point, the suitable base station antenna, you should use omni or sector. All right, omni will provide 360 degree. Alright, coverage is full tapi short distance. So sector, the coverage dia tak full, coverage dia up to 120 degrees, but you can go for longer distance than the omni. Okay, so this is the type of antenna that you can choose. Okay, alright. Yep. Okay. That's about it about today. So I hope you know product from Ubiquiti. This one, AirFiber and AirMax. So after this, you can, if you're interested in doing point to point, so you know which model to use. And also, I would like to show you this is if you're using point to point or point to multi point from the AirMax and AirFiber, you can monitor your device from the UNMS. Alright, UNMS ni monitoring tool daripada Ubiquiti. You can get it free, the software, and you can install on your server. Alright, and then you can point all your point-to-point devices into this server, so you can monitor. Alright, kalau dia up or down. So this is my UNMS. So I ada a few point-to-point devices yang I monitor here. So okay, like this one. Okay, so I have this one. Right, so I can know the model. Okay, the CPU. I can also remote upgrade. All right, I can remote upgrade if I go inside one of the AP, so I can view more details. All right, the logs. All right, the latency I have. Okay, so all the reporting. All right, so this is an extra information for you. If you have a large deployment of point to point or point to multi-point using AirMax, so you can monitor your link here. All right, so this is free daripada Ubiquiti, so you can get it. Okay. Okay, that's all from me. Before I end, I open to Q&A. If you have question, you can drop on the chat box. I will try to answer your question regarding AirMax and AirFiber. Any question you would like to ask? Okay, if no question, can nano beam and light do point to multipoint? Point to multipoint, can boleh, tak ada masalah, boleh. But you have to take note like the beam width untuk nano beam dengan light AP, light beam or light AP. If for me, kalau you use nano beam and light AP, I will do the light AP as the AP, as the access point, as the base station, and then the nano beam will be the station, the CPE. Sebab nano beam is not suitable to be as the access point because the beam width is very narrow, right? Kalau you tengok nano beam tu dia macam dish. So the beam width tu very focused, like maybe like 30 to 40 degrees saja, so tak sesuai as access point. Alright, unless your station is within that degree, then you can do the nano beam as the access point. Alright, but instead of using the nano beam as the access point, you can use the light AP as your access point, because light AP the panel the sector, it can open up to 120 degree, which is wider. Alright, so light AP sesuai untuk if you have CPE yang within wider area yang within 120 degree. So you can use, yes you can use, but you have to plan properly on your station. You must know your station location. Alright, kalau your station within that degree, boleh, you boleh pakai nano beam as access point. Tapi if not, then you have to change the nano beam. It cannot be the access point. You must use other model that suitable to have a wider area for access point. Alright, so you need to take note on that. It really depends on your setup, on your CPE location. Alright. So the normally if normally they will use a rocket as the access point. Alright, so but that one is for larger punya deployment. If let's say I give example, if residential area, you nak pasang CCTV, then yeah, because residential area very wide, so you use rocket as access point dengan maybe sector antenna or omnidirectional antenna, and then your CPE you can use mix and match. You can use nano beam, you can use light beam, you can use NS5 AC, so boleh, tak ada masalah. Alright, so yang pentingnya is your access point tu penting. Alright, so take note on the access point. Okay. Any other question? If the rocket install same height as the house, the rocket same height as the house. No, actually we don't suggest to install your point to point. I mean any device point to point. We don't suggest you to install it the same height with the other. Let's say you ada rumah, kita always advise kalau the rocket as the access point, you make it a little bit higher, like at least you can go higher 1 to 3 meters above the house. Alright, kalau so ada rumah, you pasang atas rumah on the rooftop, you make a small pole yang naik sikit, maybe up to 3 meters, because in the wireless concept you must take note this one. I need to show you this one. Okay, this one. Okay, so this one is a good diagram. Okay, Fresnel zone. Okay, so why you need to put it higher? Because this is how your Wi-Fi looks like when they are transmitting data. So dia akan oval macam ni. Alright, so kalau you letak the same height as your house, so bila you letak same height as your house, the other house also will be on the same height. So you take note this area. Okay, maybe some other houses ataupun pokok will block this below or oval below here, so dia akan kacau the performance. So that's why if you put it on the house, on the rooftop of the house, you make it a little bit higher, maybe up naik sikit 3 meter 4 meter, so that bahagian bawah ni partial ni dia tak akan obstruct, so your signal will be better. So this is example. So let's say this is the other house, so kita dah tinggikan sikit, dia tak kacau di sound, so di sini tak kacau di sound, so your performance will be better. Alright, kalau you pasang rendah, so this is example kalau you pasang rendah, so you see ada something yang blocking your Fresnel zone. Okay, so it's not a good example. Okay, so you kena pasang tinggi sikit. Alright, so this is the proper installation of point to point. Alright, take note this Fresnel zone. Okay, alright. No more question? If no question, I think that's all. If you have any other inquiry, you can email to help@syncroweb.com or sales@syncroweb.com, and follow our social media to get updates on our next events or news or products. Okay. Thanks everyone for attending my webinar. I'll see you on the next webinar. I hope you get something from this webinar, and you can start using AirMax and AirFiber models. Okay. That's all from me. Thank you. All right. See you next time. Bye.